Hi guys, it's Robyn and welcome to my channel where we're always baking up something fun, and today I have the most adorable purple hippopotamus cake planned for all of you. I'm so in love with how he turned out and I think you guys are gonna love him too. So let's get into it. So for this chubby wubby little cutie, I'm starting it with one extra thick 9 by 13 inch vanilla cake layer. And to get my layer extra thick, I just doubled up my recipe and cooked it all in one pan, nice and low and slow in the oven, so that way it cooked all the way through to the center without overcooking the outside. And I also used a piece of parchment paper to line my pan so my cake flipped out flawlessly. So I'm not going to level out this layer like I normally would. I want to keep as much height to the layer as I possibly can, and I may even add a little bit more later on as well. But I have gone ahead and torn my layer into 3 separate layers so we can build it up even more by adding some icing in between. So to begin assembly, first I've added a little bit of buttercream to my cake board, which is a slightly larger size than the cake itself. I would say it's approximately 10 inches by maybe 14. And then I've added my first layer of cake by placing it onto the cake board using a cake lifter so I didn't break it. And then I've added a nice thick layer of buttercream, which I am smoothing and leveling out using a small offset spatula to get it nice and even before we add our next layer of cake. And now we're just going to go ahead and repeat that process all over again for our final layers of cake and buttercream before finally sticking the whole thing into the fridge for about 20 minutes to firm up in preparation for some carving. So while our hippo's chilling in the fridge for a little bit, it's time to color our buttercream. So I've taken some AmeriColor Regal Purple and I've added about 3 drops to approximately 3.5 to 4 cups of icing. And as you guys can see, we have the perfect light purple buttercream, which is exactly what we need. Now once I had finished mixing my icing, my cake still wasn't fully chilled, so I had prepared my template. And if you guys are going to give this fella a go, just send me a message at therobinsnest@hotmail.com and I will send you a copy of the template that I made. So using a few toothpicks, we're just going to get this pinned into place, and then using a small serrated knife, the kind with the teeth, we're carefully going to cut all the way around the template and then gently remove the excess cake, revealing the pattern as we go. And don't those layers look yummy? So with all that excess cut away, the first thing we're going to do is remove this template so we can start carving. So in order to make this fellow look a little more 3D, this is where things are going to get slightly more complex. So in order to create that effect, we're going to have to make the body and the head look slightly taller than the front and back legs. So to achieve this, we're just going to take our serrated knife and we're going to trim a small amount off the top layer of each one of the legs. But you want to be careful not to trim away too much because we still want there to be lots of cake left to eat. Now once I have all 4 of those trimmed down, it's time to start shaping the neck and the body. Now as you can see, I'm just trimming a little wedge out of the neck, and I've also started to round out the shape of the legs and the body because we want them to look cute and chubby. So now I'm working at the head, and I'm starting to realize at this point that I want the head and the body to stand a little bit taller. So I've trimmed off all that caramelization so that way my buttercream will stick better. And now I'm adding a little bit of height to the forehead. Now I'm taking my knife and I'm just rounding it out and shaping it as I go, giving him that signature look to his face with his small forehead and his great big rounded mouth and nose. So I've tried to keep this fella fairly simple as far as 3D cakes go, so I hope this tutorial has been helpful for all of you, and it helps to guide you if you give this little fella a go. Now, if you're a beginner and you're lost and you really just aren't sure where to start, or perhaps you feel like there's something I haven't touched base on, or you have any questions at all, do not hesitate to ask me. You can drop them questions in the comment section down below, or feel free to send me a message at the email address I mentioned earlier in this video. So we've got him all carved out, and so far I think he's looking pretty sweet. So I think we can start to cover this fella with some buttercream. So we're going to do our crumb coat first, but forewarned, frosting a carved 3D cake is not exactly easy. I do highly recommend using a piping bag for this part, then you can smooth it all out once it's entirely covered in buttercream. Now, I actually really like this part because you can be messy and just have fun with it because you're really just slopping on that buttercream. It's actually almost therapeutic for me because it reminds me of being a kid and coloring. Is that something it reminds you of, or is it just me? I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. But I know one thing, it does mess a little bit with my OCD, so this next part is something that really tickles me. I absolutely love smoothing. Now this is so pleasing because you get to iron out all those wrinkles and fill in all those cracks and make it nice and smooth and clean. I just love it. What about all of you? Can any of you relate? Is your favorite part smoothing the cake? Because I know one thing, I could spend hours. I love it so much, but I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so it can take some time. So that isn't always great, but I do tend to like tedious, repetitive tasks that would drive most people crazy. So I guess that's okay. But enough being silly for now. It's time for some more therapeutic piping and then smoothing out our cakes. So I know it's still early and we're not done yet, but I have to say I think this might be one of my cutest cakes to date. And I don't know, maybe I like it because it brings back a really fond childhood memory of a commercial I used to see on TV, and I know all my fellow Canadians will relate because I'm sure you all wanted one too. And that's right, that's the North American house hippo found in mostly Canada and the eastern United States. And bonus points for anybody who can comment and let me know what their favorite snacks were, where they made their nest, and how many hours a day they would sleep. And full disclosure, of course they're not real. You just had to have watched Canadian television growing up to know what I mean. Alright guys, now we're adding all these finishing touches that are going to make him even cuter and even harder to eat because he's already too sweet. So we're just going to use our piping bag and some smoothers, and we're going to pipe on that cute little nubbin of a tail, those curved little ears, and two little nostrils for his great big nose. Now once I finished using my Dresden tools and my smoothers to attach the tail a little better and to indent and shape the ears and the nose, then we're going to create two tiny little black eyeballs for the front of this guy's face, and we're going to attach them right above that big old nose. Well, that's it guys, and I think I'm in love because I want a hippopotamus for Christmas. Only a hippopotamus will do. No crocodiles or rhinoceroses. I only like hippopotamuses, and I hope you like them too. Thanks for watching guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell too. Catch you on the next one.